All right, let's talk about one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make as an architect, choosing your back-end stack. Think of it like this. It's the engine room of your entire application. It's the unseen foundation that really determines if you're going to soar or, well, stumble. So let's dive into the guide for making that choice.
So, first things first, what are you actually building? Are you trying to launch a startup MVP like yesterday? Or are you architecting a huge enterprise app that just cannot fail? Maybe you're even building the next big social network. You gotta know, because your answer here, it changes everything.
Yeah, that's exactly what your backend stack is. It's the engine. It's what's going to dictate your speed, how well you can scale up, and whether you'll crumble under pressure. So picking the right one, absolutely critical.
Okay, so to make this whole thing a lot less daunting, we're going to break down the options into what I like to call crews. Think of them as specialized teams, each built for a different kind of mission. We'll look at the speed and agility crew, the power and reliability crew, and the specialist crew. And then we'll wrap it all up with the one golden rule you have to remember.
All right, first up, let's meet the speed and agility crew. This is the crew you call when time is everything. When your number one, absolute top priority is getting your product out the door and into the hands of real users fast.
So what kind of projects are we talking about here? Think of a classic startup MVP, or a brand new e-commerce platform, maybe even a flexible content management system. All of these have one thing in common. They demand speed. So let's check out the tech stacks that are built for exactly that. So for startup MVP, it's all about one thing: pure, unadulterated velocity. And that's why a Node.js stack is so often the winner here. Development is just ridiculously fast. Since it's all JavaScript, the talent pool is massive, so it's easier to hire. Plus, the ecosystem is huge, which means you can build, test, and completely pivot on a dime. Now for e-commerce, you'll see Node.js pop up again, but often paired with something like Next.js. Why is that? Well, this combo gives you a full-stack JavaScript solution that's not just super performant, but it's also great for SEO, which is a huge deal for any online store. And of course, having those smooth, out-of-the-box integrations with payment systems like Stripe, that's just a must-have.
And what about a content management system? Here, we often turn to the tried and true titans. Think PHP with a framework like Laravel or Python with Django. And the reason is simple. They come with so much stuff built in. We're talking powerful, battle-tested admin panels right out of the box. That just saves you a ton of time and accelerates development like you wouldn't believe.
Okay, so that's the speed crew. But what if speed isn't your only concern? What if you're playing a different game? One where scale and trust are the names of the game. Well, that's where our next team comes in, the power and reliability crew. These are the heavy hitters, the stacks you choose when failure is simply not an option. You know, we're talking about those mission-critical systems, things like massive enterprise applications, financial platforms where every single transaction has to be perfect, and APIs that need to handle millions of requests without even breaking a sweat. So for those big enterprise apps, you'll see a shift towards languages like Java, usually with the Spring Boot framework, or C# with ASP.NET. And the key word here is stability. This isn't about moving fast and breaking things anymore. These frameworks are mature, they're backed by huge corporations like Oracle and Microsoft, and they give you things like strong typing to catch errors early. They're built from the ground up to power the world's biggest companies. Now you might have noticed a name popping up in these enterprise stacks: Kafka. So what is Kafka? The best way to think about it is like a super reliable, high-speed central nervous system for all your data. It lets all the different parts of a massive application talk to each other by sending these huge streams of messages back and forth, and crucially, it makes sure not a single one gets lost. It's a game changer for big systems. Right, and when you're talking about a financial system, that kind of reliability isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely non-negotiable. So you see a similar stack to the enterprise one, but the why behind it is even more intense. It's laser-focused on security, rock-solid stability, and something called ACID compliance. That's a technical term, but it basically guarantees that your financial transactions are processed perfectly every single time. But what if you need to handle just an insane amount of traffic, like social network launch day level traffic? Well, that's when you call in the performance specialists, languages like Go and Rust. These languages are built for one thing above all else: raw speed and concurrency. They are designed to squeeze every last drop of performance out of your servers. They are incredibly efficient, which is absolutely key when you're operating in a massive scale. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about our final group, the specialist crew. Now, these aren't your everyday general-purpose stacks. Think of these as elite squads, hand-picked and assembled for very specific and often very complex missions.
So what are we talking about? Things like real-time applications, maybe a chat app, or a data science API that's serving up complex machine learning models. How about a massive backend for an Internet of Things network, or a really complex system that's been broken down into a microservices architecture?
Okay, so for something like a real-time app, the whole game is about holding open thousands, maybe millions of connections at the same time. Node.js is actually really good at this, but if you want to meet a true master of concurrency, you look at something like Elixir with the Phoenix framework. It was literally built for this stuff, which makes it perfect for things like chat apps or those dashboards that update in the blink of an eye.
Now, when you move into the world of data science, the choice becomes, well, pretty obvious. It's Python. Why? Because its ecosystem of machine learning libraries, we're talking the legendary TensorFlow and PyTorch, is just completely unmatched. And when you pair that with a modern high-performance web framework like FastAPI, you have the perfect setup to serve those powerful models to the entire world.
IoT, the Internet of Things, that's a whole different beast. The challenge here is dealing with a constant, massive torrent of data streaming in from maybe millions of different devices. And this is another place where those super efficient languages like Go and Rust really shine. You pair them with specialized databases built for time series data, and you use really efficient messaging protocols like MQTT to handle all that communication. It's a very specialized toolkit.
And finally, microservices. When you're building an application this way, your stack is really built around the whole cloud-native ecosystem. Go is a super popular choice for writing the actual services because they're small and efficient. Then you use a tool like Kubernetes to manage and orchestrate all those little pieces. And to make sure they can all talk to each other at lightning speed, you use something called gRPC. So yeah, I just mentioned gRPC. You might be wondering, what exactly is that? Basically, it's a high-performance framework that came out of Google. Think of it as a supercharged, incredibly efficient way for all your different microservices to communicate. In a complex system with dozens of services, having that speed is absolutely essential. Okay, so we've met the speed crew, the power crew, and the specialist crew. 3 very different teams for 3 very different missions. But what's the one thing that connects all of this? It all boils down to one simple golden rule. A rule that should govern every single architectural decision you make. And here it is. The best stack is a myth. It doesn't exist. Forget about it. The only thing that truly matters is finding the optimal stack for your specific project, in your specific context. So you have to ask yourself, what am I optimizing for? Is it speed to market? Is it rock-solid reliability when we hit a massive scale? Or am I trying to solve a very specific niche problem? Your answer to that question is what will point you to the right tools.
So I'll leave you with one final thought to chew on. This whole world of technology, it's constantly changing, right? New frameworks, new languages, new databases pop up all the time. So as you stand at this crossroads, making your choice, the real question isn't just what works now. The question is, how will you choose a stack that's built not just for today, but for the inevitable, unknown challenges of tomorrow?